Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Expert Speaker Podcast. We have stay-at-home mom building a six-figure income from home online, Jenn Jackson. Welcome, expert, to the Expert Speaker Show.
Hello, hello. It's a pleasure to be here.
So we're going to take this interview and do the best we can to really explain how to build a six-figure income from home, part-time, while raising kids, which you figured out and you
Yeah.
help other people do.
Mhm.
And I understand you're hosting a masterclass or a webinar where you're going to go a little bit more in depth and hands-on. That's coming up soon, correct?
Yes, that is correct. So it's happening next Wednesday. Um, and I'm very excited to dive a little deeper. And honestly, my mission is to help others do this. Mom, creators, influencers. Um, I've gone through it myself. So I am in the business of helping others achieve exactly that. So the masterclass is happening October 22nd at noon. And I'll be
Great.
diving deeper into all of my strategies.
Fantastic. If you are watching this recording, just send Jen a message if it's after the date or before the date because you want to get the right time zone. Maybe there's going to be a recording. Um, Fantastic. So take me back. What were you doing before you were making money online?
Ah, wow, you're taking me back to my past lives. Um, I actually was in university. So this is almost a decade ago, over a decade ago, actually. 2010. That's when I was not thinking about social media. That was not the path that was in front of me. I'm Haitian, so my parents definitely drilled into me, go to school, get a degree, and that's how you become successful. That was the only way. Honestly, really, become a doctor and you're successful. That's it. So I was well on my way to becoming a doctor, even though I knew deep inside, ever since I was young, I knew I was more creative. I was very much into fashion. I remember telling my parents when I was young, I want to be a fashion designer. And they were like, absolutely not. You are going to be a doctor. So 2010, my father passed away. And that really shook my entire core because I never even imagined life without my parents around. So I'm in university. My dad passed away, unfortunately, in the earthquake that happened in Haiti, if anybody
Mm.
was familiar with that. So it was very sudden, and I was crushed. And in that pain, in my grief, which I didn't know how to express myself, I didn't know how to cope with what I was going through. I decided to just start a YouTube channel. It was out of the blue. I felt I was stressed. My hair was falling out. I didn't know what I was doing in my life. I was in university on my way to becoming a doctor. I was my degree is in biochemistry. So once I started my YouTube channel, just as a way to express myself, that's when I started building a following. And back then, there was no such thing as making, I mean, not in my world, not to my knowledge. YouTube wasn't even monetizable. It was just a platform to express yourself. So I was expressing myself. And that was my first experience, I could say, in terms of being online and showing up and recording myself. And even then, I wanted to keep it under wraps. So when YouTube, a couple of years later, I will say, YouTube reached out, the partner program, the monetization program was a thing. So they reached out for me to be part of it. I was like, absolutely not. This is my little hobby. I don't want anybody to, I don't want to start monetizing it because I grew up with the conversation around money as well. There was a lot of lack. There was never enough of it. And money was like the root of all evil. I watched my parents fight around money. So I was like, nope, that's my little hobby. It's precious to me. I don't want to monetize it. Oh, we've grown a lot from those days. So that's how my career technically started. And then eventually, I want to say maybe 3 years later, I decided to monetize it. I was like, why not? I'm actually getting a lot of traction in YouTube. I'm creating all these videos and putting a lot of work into them. And I'm still, struggling university student. So I was like, this could actually help me maybe pay my rent. So I accepted to be part of the program and I started making a little bit of money online. So that's how it started. That's how the seed was planted. It was literally from my pain, I could say, my grief, and me looking for an outlet.
Okay. So you started getting money from YouTube.
hmm YouTube was the first.
And at what point did you start to consider yourself an influencer? Is that like, what is an influencer? And is that like when you start getting paid for posting online?
An influencer is someone who has influence. And with that definition, I think all of us are influencers. You think
Mm,
about you go to a restaurant, you enjoy it, and you tell your friend, hey, you should go check out that place. You influence them to go check out the spot.
yeah.
So I never even considered myself as an influencer. Again, when I started, it was more, oh, I just want to express myself. It's an outlet. I was in a lot of pain. So I never saw myself as someone who even had influence over my audience. 2015 came around, Instagram started, and that's when I was like, oh yeah, everyone's on Instagram, so let me go on Instagram too. So when I started posting on Instagram, that's when I realized I actually had influence because then people will ask me a lot more questions. I think it's because of the DM feature. So people would just slide in the DM and ask me questions. So now everybody wanted to know, what are you using on your hair, Jen? What are you using on your skin? So then I would tell them, yeah, I'm using this product, that product, not even really sharing affiliate links or anything like that, just sharing just to share. And that honestly, at the on a baseline level, I love sharing. I love helping other people. I want to help other people. That's just what I've always done online and in real life. So that's when I realized, okay, people are asking me about all the things that I'm doing. I could be doing a hair tutorial and someone's asking me, "What is this in the background? What's that light fixture?" And it's like, "What? Okay, I guess I do have some sort of influence as people want to know what I'm doing." So that's how it started, I would say. But an influencer, I think we all have it in us in terms of sharing and helping and just being human. I think we're a tribal group and we like being around one another. So in that regard, I think we're all influencers.
Very good. So you went from YouTube, then you had Instagram, where it's a little bit more like DMing, um, and then you started getting brand deals. How does that work? And you mentioned to me earlier that the brand deal world has changed.
Yes.
So what is a brand deal? How does it work? And how has it changed?
So a brand deal is when a company basically notices the influence that you have or notices that you have an engaged audience and they want to partner with you. So on a essentially how it works is they get you to promote their products. So if I'm say doing my makeup and NARS, which is the foundation I'm wearing today, shout out to you NARS. If they wanted to partner with me, they will say, hey, promote this foundation to your audience and we will pay you to do so. So that's the transaction in the back end. But what people usually see is just me wearing the foundation, maybe using it, talking about how it works. And then I'll, nicely let them know, use the link that I'm providing for you to get the product. So that's essentially how a brand deal works. And it's on every platform now. It's not just Instagram, it's YouTube, TikTok. You can do brand deals anywhere. Wherever you have an engaged audience, honestly, you can leverage that and monetize that way. And I think most creators actually monetize through brand deals. However, I've noticed a shift in the landscape with brand deals because I started 13 years ago. So I see there's partnership on YouTube, there's partnership on Instagram, there's partnership on TikTok, but I don't like to speak from a perspective that the market is too saturated, but there's a lot of influencers now. There's a lot of creators. So brand deals are not as um, frequent, I could say, as they used to be, depending again on how engaged your audience is. But also, they got into a point where I find they're a little bit more restrictive. So they will provide you with a script and they want you to
Hmm.
create not so much from how you create and how creative you want to be, but they really want you to hit certain marketing pinpoints, which is fair. However, if my audience knows me very well and I show up in a very authentic way, if I start reading a script now, they'll be able to tell. And for me, being creative first, I want that creative freedom. And over the years, I find that that's changed a lot. And another area that I find that it changed, and some people care about it, some people don't, is usage rights. So a brand would maybe partner with you, you create the video, but now they want to take this video and market it themselves, which is great. A lot of creators make a lot of money that way because you're essentially licensing your content. But it's also the wild, wild west because then any company can just take your content and use it however way they want or cut it up however way they want. And a lot of the times they want to own the footage in perpetuity forever. That's basically what that means. And I have a problem with that. Just not only is it my face, and for me, whatever, if it's just my face, it's fine. But if I have content where my children are involved, then I'm definitely like a helicopter mom. I'm mama bear at
Mhm.
this point. I'm very
Mhm.
protective of them. So there's a lot of reasons why I was like, okay, you know what? I love doing brand deals, especially when it's a company that value you. They don't, that doesn't undervalue the work that you're doing, because that's another area as well where they will offer, or the amount that they offering are less and less just because there's so many creators that they want to spread themselves thin around. But as a creator, I'm like, oh no, I know the power that I have. I know the value of my audience, and I don't want to cheapen myself just because you can't afford me. So there's a lot of different reasons as to why, or different areas I've seen brand deals change over the years, but those would be the main ones I would say.
I got it. And then you got into selling courses or selling knowledge or education. How does that work?
Yeah, so my business, The Focus Creator, I like to say was born when my daughter was born.
Mm.
So becoming a mom completely changed me. And at first, I think when you become a first mom, you start fighting yourself because I think as you birth your children, you also birth the new version of yourself. And that's something that I feel is not talked about enough. We can talk about motherhood all day long, but to keep it focused, you start fighting yourself a little bit, and that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of my perspective changed because I started saying no to so many brand deals just because I was like, you know what, that's not aligned with me as much as I would want it to be. Or if they want to have my children in the content, I don't really want to show them like that. So there's a whole thing there, but I had to sit with myself and was like, okay, I'm here. I'm still creating content. I still love being a creative. I still love helping people. I still love sharing what I know. So, how can I still do that and not monetize through brand deals? Because as influencers, as creators, it's one of the biggest ways to monetize. And I think some people don't even know they can monetize in other ways. So I went down the rabbit hole looking for answers. How can I monetize beyond brand deals? And I'm very grateful for brand deals. They really shaped my career and even expanded my mind into this world of entrepreneurship that I never even imagined. Again, I was supposed to be a doctor, so I went down the science route. And now I'm in this entrepreneurship world that I never expected, and I love it. So, how can I remain there? And not have to say go back to corporate or anything like that just because I'm saying no to all the brand deals. So I went down the rabbit hole in learning how can I monetize my knowledge. And I realized I know a lot from my 13 years of experience of being online, of creating content, of working with brands, um, of just being a creative. So I decided to put all of that knowledge together and start packaging it and saying, hey, this is what I do. I can help you be an influencer. I can help you be a creator. I can help you monetize not just your knowledge, but also yourself. Monetize what you do, and do it while you're at home. Do it while you're a mom. Do it part time. So that's how it all started for me.
Cool. What advice do you have for someone starting with what might feel like nothing to them, zero? Like they're thinking about, do I need to buy a ring light? Do I need to buy a new phone? Should I be posting stories or Instagram or YouTube videos? And there's just no direction. What
Yeah.
is like the first 30 days? What is the first 90 days? What's your basic advice for someone starting?
Now, it can be very overwhelming starting out, especially if you're comparing your humble beginnings with someone who's been doing it for 10 years. And that's where a lot of people go down the rabbit hole of I am not ready. I need to get the ring lights. I need to get the new camera, etc. But my advice is, first of all, let's slow down. Let's take it one step at a time in terms of using what we already have. And ironic enough, when I started 10 years ago, it was the same thing. I was propping my back then this first generation iMac. It was the plastic ones, which doesn't even exist anymore. I was propping that on top of books so that it could be at eye level so that I can create my videos. And now we actually have it so much better because our phones record in 1080p. It's not webcam quality at this point. You still have great quality with just your phone. So prop it up and start talking to the camera. Now you'll start realizing that there's a lot of skill development that needs to happen behind the scenes when it comes to content creation, but you need to get the reps in. And I would say the first 100 videos, look at them as practice. Have no expectations. Just show up, talk to the camera, post it. And a lot of the time, we are in our minds, oh, what are people going to say? I'm not pretty enough. I don't have the best foundation. My hair isn't done. All of that literally is us in our minds. You can't improve what you don't release. So get the content out, use what you have. And once you start making some money online, then you can take that and reinvest it back into your business and maybe get the new camera. And I would argue use your phone, don't get a new camera. If you want to start investing, invest in audio. Not only is it the cheapest way, just because $20 will get you a little lavalier mic on Amazon that you can start using, people will get over decent quality, but they won't get over bad audio. If they can hear you in this day and age, they're swapping away from your videos. So invest in audio. First of all, get the reps in. Invest in audio, maybe $20 for something on Amazon. That's going to do. And then keep putting the reps in terms of how to create better content. Start studying, okay, once I put 20 videos out, what is performing? And performing for you doesn't mean 100,000 views. Maybe one video got 2 views, but another one got 20. What happened in this video that got 20 views? What was the lighting like? How did you talk? How did you start the video? What did you talk about? Then start duplicating that video that got 20 views and maybe you'll get 40. Okay, well then what happened in that video that got 40 views? Start, I guess success leaves clues. So start using your own content as the benchmark and not somebody else's content.
If you had to start on just one platform,
Oh
YouTube,
yes,
Facebook, Instagram, which one
platforms.
would you start on?
You know what? I would say just pick one. Master one platform first. And I hate to be prescriptive and say start YouTube or start Instagram. Pick one. That's whatever feels good to you. If you are an educator by heart and you like to really sit down and go deeper on certain topics, I would say go with YouTube. YouTube is a lot of work though, which is why a lot of people start and stop. However, if you just want to get started, you're like, I'm not really sure if this is a life for me. I just kind of want to dibble and dabble. Then start with Instagram because it's easier to create a 60-second video versus, say, 4, 5, 8, 10 minutes video that you have to kind of edit and figure out how to get it uploaded. However, on a career level, long-term level, YouTube is a great platform to be on just because of their monetization model. They have AdSense included in there, so they pay creators. And also, it's a better lead generating machine if you're looking at it from a business perspective, because as people are watching your videos, they're spending more time with you. So now they really know you on a deeper level versus a 60-second video where they can just kind of quickly get in and then swipe away. So it depends on your goals. It depends on where you want to go. If you're trying to do this long term, YouTube and Instagram, you can do long term as well. But I think it's easier to get shorter videos out and get the reps in because YouTube can be a beast to master.
So YouTube, they're expecting longer content.
Yeah, YouTube is when you're sitting down and watching a video with someone. You're chilling with them. You
Mm,
watch, you return to their channel because you love their personality. Like it's definitely a deeper connection.
yeah. Now I'm curious, as a mother with adorable babies, how do you manage the distractions or even working from home in general when there's always laundry to do, there's always dishes to do?
Oh
How do
my
you
God.
stay focused? What do you do to manage the distractions?
You know, I've had to sit down with myself so many times. Um, but ultimately it comes down to managing my workload. Like I usually put everything on my plate. I write it all down and it's like, okay, this is what I need to do and what matters to me in this season. Where am I now? What can I feasibly do and what can wait? You know, the laundry sometimes can wait. The dishes, I can get hubby to do them. It's not about doing everything, it's about being intentional with what you're doing and you utilizing your time effectively. And it's giving myself grace. Like the schedule that worked when I had one child doesn't work with now that I have two. So I have to update things and change things around. But what does work for me now is waking up early, earlier than everybody in the house. So not only does that give me a peaceful start to my day, I can really
Mhm.
sit and have my tea and read a book. So peaceful, which is great. Two, I can get my deep work done before I hear mommy every 2 seconds or before the baby's up and is attached to me. So deep work is out of the way early in the morning. I wake up at 5 o'clock. I do my work. The rest of the family usually wake up around 8:39. So that gives me a solid 3 hours to get most of the things that I need to do, especially when it comes to client work, courses, content creation. When I need to be creative and I know I don't want to be distracted, that's 5 a.m. work. And then during the day, I just do things with my kids. So, baby's napping right now, I can do a podcast. Or I know specifically the thing that I can do when he's napping, because then I know I'll have like an hour and a half where I can maybe write something, maybe create something, maybe answer all my emails, etc. But while he's up, I like to be in mom mode. I don't believe in, first of all, driving myself to the ground. But also, I don't want to be the mom that looks back and was like, I was never present with my kid. Yes, I built this business, but like, what's my kid's name again? I don't want to
Mhm.
be that mother. So I like to be intentional when he's up. So now I'm on mom mode. I'm playing with him, teaching, reading books, doing the dishes, doing the laundry. I do those with my children while,
Yeah.
we're all up.
Yeah.
The evening is family time, so that's when hubby comes home and we spend time as a family. So I value that as well. So I make sure that I'm present for that. And then we're back at it again at 5 a.m. for deep work.
Very good.
Hmm.
Very good. So tell me about this training you have coming up. And I know you have a more in-depth where you work with people and help them get going on their six-figure business. Give the people some idea of what that training and what that coaching looks like.
Absolutely. So the training is about teaching creators, moms, entrepreneurs, influencers, specifically how to build a six-figure business from home. And like I said, you can do it part-time. You can do it 2 to 3 hours a day. And that's essentially what I do. My deep work is when I build my business. And I walk you through the follower conversion system. And the thing with creating content is you can create a lot of content, which is great. You can grow your audience, amazing. You can leverage that audience and work with brands, that's great. But how are you converting your followers to consistent sales yourself? So if you are not getting a brand deal, especially with brand deals, it's up and down, it's finicky. You can't control when a brand is going to come to you. You can obviously do your due diligence and pitch, which is all the things that I teach in my program. However, you still want to be in control of your income. And when I became a mom again, this is why my business was born. I was like, okay, I can't just sit around waiting for the next brand deal whenever that's going to happen. And also, you can't control how much is going to be. So, how can you take control and convert your followers into income? So, that's the system that I teach. It's called the 4C flow. We obviously first uh, co- first we focus on content. So that's where we are building our brands. And then we focus on the conversion event. What is that event that's going to convert your followers into income? And how intentional are you with that conversion event? So we discuss all of that. We install it into your business. And the conversion event is the goal is to obviously funnel people into your core offer. So once you have your offer set up, it's about delivery, it's about servicing your audience. And then the last C is calibration. And that's another word for analytics. I had to go with a C to make it 4C, but that's when you're analyzing your content, the performance of your content, the performance of your conversion event. And you're obviously analyzing your client success. You want people to be happy with uh, the service that you are delivering. So let's analyze that. And analyzing our income. How is the machine working? So next Wednesday, we're going to walk through all of that and teach each piece of the system so that you can go and install the follower to conversion system into your business.
Fantastic. Remind me, what is a conversion event?
So, conversion event is basically when you are asking for the sale. Like, how are you doing that? How intentional are you with creating that event where you're telling someone, hey, I have this, and do you want to buy it? This is what it's going to do for you. And this is how you can do business with me. And as simple as it sounds, you would not believe how many people are just creating content online, but never really telling anybody that, hey, I have something to sell. Or maybe they just don't even have anything to sell. So you're just creating content for what? What is the purpose? What is the big vision around your content creation journey? Is it just to have followers to say that you have followers? Because that is the number one reason why a lot of people burn out and never to be heard of again, never to be seen again, just because you don't have a purpose behind the content. You don't have a vision as to why you're showing up. Why do you want to be an influencer? And how are you actually influencing people? So
Yeah,
it's very important to create that almost the event where you're like, this is what I do, this is how I can help you. So, do you want to do business with me? It's that simple. And as
got it.
influencers, it's so funny because we do this with brands because when a brand wants to work with you, that's essentially what they want you to do. Okay, plug in my product into your content and tell or ask your audience to buy it. So now you're creating that conversion event. You are putting that slide up in your story saying, here's the link to buy this thing. So it's the same thing about being intentional with creating that for your own products and your own offers.
Hmm. Very cool. How has your life changed since you've built a six-figure online business compared to before making money online?
Oh my God. That's a very good question. I remember 2020. We all remember 2020, but specifically, we're all working from home. So at that time, I was still working my corporate job and I was working from home. And that's when things were sort of shifting inside of me in terms of, wow, I didn't even realize I wanted to be home more and just, I don't know, wake up and do yoga in the morning and just I didn't realize how stressed I was working my corporate job until 2020 hit essentially. So there's some good things that came out of the pandemic. But in any case, once they wanted us to go back to work, I remember driving to work and as I got closer and closer to work, I would just hold on to the steering wheel of my car and like
Uh-oh.
jaw starts clenched. I didn't even realize this was happening. Like I'm driving and I'm like, what is happening to me? Like, I guess I don't want to go to work. And I never had anything against my corporate job. I enjoyed it. It's the most money I've made. So I was like, what? Why do I guess I don't want to go back. So I was very stressed going back to work and I did it for a whole year after the pandemic. And and I realized, all right, you know what? You have to make a decision. Like, I actually don't enjoy how stressed I was. And I didn't even know the extent of my stress when I was just going to my 9 to 5. That's just what I did. So now being able to stay home and be with my children, especially becoming a mother, and being able to create this life for myself. And now I truly understand the definition of freedom. It's about having freedom to do things when I want to do them and calling the shots when I want to call them. And I didn't even know that's the life I wanted. But now that I'm here, I can't stop smiling about it. It's like, wow, I can wake up at 5 o'clock. And it may sound crazy to some people, like 5 o'clock. But I happily do it because, hey, I just put in my 2, 3 hours. And then after that, I can be a mom. I can be silly with my family. Like, it's just such a stress-free life that I didn't even know I craved until I fell into it and I started building it. And I really wish I invested in coaching way early on in my career because I think it would have definitely um, sped up the trajectory of my career, especially when I was, still in university or maybe after I graduated. Like back then it would have been a perfect time for me to really go all in versus like trying to play both roles for 5 plus years and being like unsure, is this gonna work for me? Is this the path for me? Should I do this? Like I really wish I went all in then and invested in myself, invested in coaching, because then that would have just taken my career to the to next heights. But I mean, in hindsight, it's fine. And we still ended up investing in ourselves and coaching so that I am where I am now. But
Yeah.
I don't regret it. This is the best decision I could have ever done for myself and my family.
Hmm. Well, thank you for sharing. Um, what do you make of this world of AI is going to take over everything, and where do you see yourself as a voice online? And how are you moving into the uncertainty of the future with, the world changing so quickly with AI?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. It's funny, at first I was very against AI. I was like, oh my God, the robots, they are coming. All
Hmm.
I could imagine is iRobot.
Hmm.
And I don't believe AI is going to take over all of the jobs. It's funny because I think we look at it from what we're losing versus what we're gaining, and that's human nature. However, once I started using AI more, I realized, listen, AI is the future, so you might as well adapt or get left behind. AI is going to take over positions and jobs of people that just don't utilize AI, don't get into it.
Yeah.
And, I'm not that old, but I feel like every year almost, or at least every couple of years, there's something new. There's something that's
Mhm.
happening where it's like, oh no, the world is going to shake. And that's another fear that I've had for a long time where I mean, I've been thinking about letting go of my corporate job for like probably 7 years, or 5 years before I actually did it. And every year it was like, oh, well, there's this, I don't know, war in Russia. Oh no, there is this pandemic. Oh no, there's always something new. And you can't operate from a place of fear, like, okay, I can't invest in myself, or I can't move forward, or this is going to happen, is going to take over. Or you can operate from a place of, we are going to adapt. We are going to find new ways to operate and do business. And we even when you think about human connection, and I think at the core of content creation, which is what I teach, it's human connection. You can replace that with AI. If anything, I think a lot of us are going to return back to the core, um, to the basics of connecting with one another, connecting with humans, speaking like this, where it's a little bit more offline, not so much on social media, creating communities and events. I think that's probably where things are going to go, where we if if we crave human connection, we're going to still get it. But AI is just going to help a lot of us operate from a workflow perspective. Like I feel like I'm a lot more effective with my 3 hours in a day just by
Mm-hmm.
utilizing AI.
Cool. I've got a tactical question for you. So I know we mentioned like forget about all the lights and the cameras and the everything because I know I got lost in that like looking at what about Kajabi and what about Teachable and what about all these other platforms. Um, but what is your philosophy now when it comes to picking your tools? And what advice do you give who's someone who's like, they're just like overthinking, comparing all of the different options of softwares and everything?
Yeah, it's a good question. I still have the same philosophy. You got to get in the game. And you got to get in the game as for as little as possible, meeting yourself where you are, and then you can invest in your tools as you start making sales. I
Yeah.
actually have a client of mine where we've designed her course and she hadn't spent a dime on any subscriptions, not yet. And her course is online. So there's ways that you can go around promoting your knowledge, promoting what you do without having to spend your entire life savings on subscriptions. And if you're not careful, you will spend your life savings on Kajabi and then ConvertKit and then this and then that. So start with where you are, utilize the free versions of a lot of the softwares. I know Kajabi doesn't have a free version, at least not anymore. But for example, Zoom, you can do free work or not free workshop. It could be a paid workshop on Zoom so that you can get some cash flow in. And then you can use that, again, reinvest it back into your business so that you can, say, have a software going where you can put all your courses information there.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's about starting because once you start, you realize it's not even the biggest piece is you. It's the person you need to become so that you are successful versus what are the things I need to buy and all the things that I need to hide behind so that I'm not fully being myself online. So start where you are with what you have. And as you learn all the different skills, the skills of marketing, which is content creation, the skill of selling, then you can reinvest back into yourself. And I know it's probably not the answer people want to hear because people want go get the software,
Yeah.
get, but there's cheaper versions. For example, Stan is a cheaper version than Kajabi. And Stan has a lot of different functionalities. But still, if you don't have $29 a month that you will, if you're not sure this is what you want to do, then go with something that doesn't have um, a monthly subscription. Start with Zoom, the free version of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good.
You just have to get in the game. That is the number one thing that I hope anybody's listening right now takes away. Get in the game and invest in yourself when you start making some money.
Fantastic. Jenn Jackson, content creator, influencer, online business owner, super mom, and she's putting on a webinar to train you how to start your online business at home, even with just the phone you have.
Yes.
And send her a message if you're seeing this or listening to this anywhere to learn from her. Follow her on Instagram. Where do people find you on Instagram?
I'm on Instagram at the Jenn Jackson, the one and only.
The Jenn Jackson with two N's in Jen.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jenn.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.